Hey, Kim.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, thanks for agreeing to this Zoom meeting. And I just wanted to use this opportunity just to have a brief chat about, from your experience as a journalist, about what the situation is with 5G in our area and what the opportunity is. And perhaps when dealing with the media, what the risks are, and maybe offering us some hot tips on how to make the most out of those opportunities dealing with the media, both on social media and mainstream media. So first of all, what's your background?
Great timing for that, that's for sure.
Yeah. So just briefly, what's your background in media?
Yeah, so Dan, my background is I was a TV reporter for Channel 7 for about 15 years, and prior to that I was a radio reporter and a print journalist. And I actually stepped out of the mainstream about 7 years ago because of the way it was moving. It used to be a lot more autonomy. These days, as we're seeing, that they just are, well, they're not covering this issue at all whatsoever. So I'm really grateful now to be out of that and being where the real news is and talking to, Mullum real, keeping it real. It means a lot to me.
So what is the situation, the current situation as you see it at the moment?
Yes, so look, I see this as an incredible opportunity for our beautiful community, Dan. How remarkable is this? Here we have little Mullumbimby, a rural town within the Byron Shire, literally with the spotlight of the entire world on it at this point, and what could be potentially a history-making moment. So the situation which you summarised is that we have Telstra have arrived to try and do an upgrade of 5G to a tower within Mullumbimby that the community has said they do not want. We've ticked off every box to say we don't want that. So we've followed all the protocol that they have suggested we needed to. We've also had council step in at the 11th hour and back us up and say, you know what, we're calling for a moratorium as well. We don't want it either. So that's where the precedent is. We're probably the one place in the world that has got to that point now where they've come out and said, well, we're going to do it anyway. And we've come out and said, well, no, you're not. And we're in a pandemic situation. So it's just like, wow, it's really... we're getting scrutinised, and so this is an opportunity for us to make the absolute most of this incredible situation, and just make sure we do present ourselves in the best light that we possibly can. That's what I would suggest.
And so, what are the risks if we don't?
Well, look, things can go wrong really quickly, and we've already seen that on day one. There's a lot of heightened emotion out there. We've got such a cross-section of people, everyone from, mums and dads to seasoned activists to police. And we've been in lockdown, so people are already somewhat like, caged lions. Everyone's got a phone, or every second person's got a phone out there, so everything. But just assume that at any point you're being filmed. I know myself and some of the other team out there are going live a lot, and those live audiences are potentially reaching up to 60,000 people at a time. So as a rule of thumb, I'd say whilst we're out there, it would be a great idea if everyone just remembers that at any time you're being seen around the world. So social distancing as best we can under challenging situation, staying calm, and dressing as professionally as we can. I've said it to you before, maybe we're dressing like we're going to our grandma's for lunch. So in your case, that might mean a little beard trim.
I don't know about that.
Not happening.
Do you think it makes a difference if people, wear shoes and, do their hair, and even things like swearing and, that kind of stuff? Do you think that makes a difference?
I think it does in this instance. I'm all for freedom, and that's one of the beautiful parts of the Shire. Living here is we're rainbow warriors, and we like to have freedom of expression in how we style ourselves. But what I suggest is, you've heard that saying, in order to change the rules, sometimes you need to play by the rules. So if we want to appeal to our audience. So who is our audience? Let's just analyse those for a moment. The people we're trying to get on side are mainstream. So they do judge us based on how we appear. They do judge us based on those things. Much as that's irksome for us, it's a reality. So let's be smart about it is what I'm suggesting. Let's play to that for now. Let's be as professional as we can in our demeanour and in our dress, so that we absolutely do not let this opportunity slip through our fingers by giving them an opportunity to discredit us. Because if we don't, we already know the stereotype, Dan. Like, what's the stereotype you would say that people like to discredit our community with?
Lazy, unemployed hippies have got nothing better to do than have a whinge and make everything more difficult than it needs to be, I guess.
Exactly right. That's what I'm hearing too, and throw in a tinfoil hat and away we go. So we're already battling under quite a solid stereotype there. So it's an opportunity for us to say, hey, we don't put us in a box. We can be anything that we choose to be. And for this moment in time, it's just a thought. We could choose to be a cohesive and very responsive rather than reactive group just while we're out there on site, so that we don't see the profanities, we don't see the screeching and the screaming, which is totally understandable because, gosh, emotions are high and it's a crazy situation out there. But, I keep thinking, okay, just get through this point in time. Don't allow them any more ammunition against us. It would be a great message for us all to be more awareful of.
Do you think it makes a difference? Like if you were going to post on social media, do you think it makes a difference to distinguish between, hey, this is how I feel about this versus, hey, this is the truth for me and everyone versus, these are the facts? So any tips on the best ways to approach posting on social media?
Yeah, and I'm really encouraging everyone to do so. And it's been beautiful to see these people, everyone's stepping in. It's taken on a life of its own, and as it should be, people are running with it. So that's fantastic. And yeah, good point, Dan. For me, I tend to stick more to how I feel about it unless I'm really certain on the facts, because then we can't trip ourselves up. And there's certainly a lot of compelling things to say about how we feel about these big towers looming above us and above our children. So that's prudent to stick to how you feel rather than trying to go into any debates about fact. But absolutely, guys, everyone out there, just grab your phones and share while you've got the chance. It all helps.
Okay. And how about specifically dealing with mainstream media? If you get approached to do an interview, what are the things to be aware of with that?
Yeah, well, typically a TV interview, they'll only give you 10 seconds of airtime. So they might do a 10-minute interview with you. And we saw an example of this with one of our representatives who spoke so eloquently and amazingly about the 5G topic. And then they asked one trap question about abiding by the law. And that became the focus of the news story. So we now know that's what we're dealing with. The mainstream and the regionals no longer are giving us a sympathetic ear, which they have done, I have to say. Up till now, the regionals have been great. They've given us a lot of support. But something's flipped, and it's clear now that their agenda is they want to go down that angle of that we're not abiding by the social distancing. So if they ask us a question to do with that, the best thing that I would suggest we do is we say, look, I'm not here to talk about the law. I'm here to talk about this issue, the 5G tower, and just turn it back to your own message. So even if you have to keep repeating your own message over and over and over for the 10 minutes they interview you, that's fine. That's your prerogative. And if you're not feeling super confident on it, you can decline. You don't have to do a TV interview just because they put the camera at your face. You don't have to do that. Keep them short and sharp, keep them concise, and keep them sort of heartfelt and based on how you're feeling about not even just 5G, but the civil liberty situation as well. And I think we can't go too wrong then if we just sort of stick to those basic fundamentals.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Kim. And I guess if you have got any more hot tips, we'll hear from you in the future.
Yeah, hot tip, you got to trim your beard.
Dress up like you want to impress your
I tell you what, I'll make you a deal, Dan. I'll wear shoes if you trim your beard.
Right.
We'll do our bit for the cause.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. But no, look, great. We've got a chance to make a real difference on a big issue here. So let's not be too flippant about that. Let's really just you know, what a beautiful moment for us to shine. And let's just see what we can bring over the coming days and weeks.
Cheers, Kim.
Thanks, Dan.